Thank you for joining me today on the Who God Says podcast. I am your host and Kingdom Ambassador, Ty-Shaun-Dra. Hi, hi, hi. Today we have a special guest. He is a husband, father, author, entrepreneur, lifestyle coach. He is the founder of Militant Grind and the host of the Militant Grind podcast, Mr. Sherman Perryman. Welcome.
Hey, hi. How you doing? Thank you for the introduction. I'm very pleased to be here too.
Oh, thank you for being here with me. I'm excited. Um,
Likewise.
Try not to let my accent take over.
Nah, go ahead. Be yourself. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but sometimes I can talk a bit fast and people are like, well, what did you say? So
Oh no, I
I'm
got you. My
right.
my grandmother's from Mississippi, so I'm used to that. So yeah,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, it's funny because people think that some people in the South talk slow, but it's more so the Midwest is a little slower, but sometimes in the
Mm,
South it's super fast, depending on where you at in the South.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I go up north, like New York and Pennsylvania and everything, they
Hmm.
ask me, am I Jamaican? So
Oh
I
wow.
did that.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed that, but I feel it.
I get, are you Jamaican? Like, no. Mm-mm. We got some stuff stirring in the pot down here, but I don't think it's Jamaican.
Right.
I know I have some things. I have
Hmm.
like uh I have two different Indian tribes and I just recently found that out, but
Hmm.
it's not Jamaican.
Right. I found out Indian tribes and Jamaican, so that's kind of funny.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, like a
Which
Jamaican
Indian
man.
tribe?
Muskogee Creek and
Okay.
Choctaw. Yeah. And then my last name actually came from a Muskogee chief called Benjamin Perryman, so it's kind of funny, like.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like the last name. If I was to go to Oklahoma, they'll be like all over me because it's like everybody in the tribe is a Perryman. So some people from the tribe will see my last name and be like, "Oh yeah, you got to be Native American if this
Right.
is your last name and you're black and your grandfather's from Texas." Oh yeah, you know. So yeah, it's funny how it all ended up because you don't know until you do your research and figure
Right.
things out. And you'll be like, "What? Wow! Like, oh, I know this."
I did not know. Well,
Yeah.
I do have Choctaw, and I knew that I had Choctaw because of my dad's side of the family. So I
Hmm.
knew that I had Choctaw, but on my mom's side, I have Cherokee. I was like, oh wow,
Hmm.
okay. So that was something different. I was like, so when I told everybody I was mixed, I wasn't lying.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I call us hybrids. Like we're all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I did the ancestry DNA one time, and I figured out that I was 20% European. I was like, damn. Like that was that was a large chunk. And I was walking around like my whole thought about white people were different. Then I was like, man, I'm over here like
Mm.
almost a quarter the same as y'all. But
Yep.
sheesh, it's like you just start thinking of the world different, and then you start seeing your distant cousins, and it's like a white man in the South that looks like he drink beer all day. Like my fifth cousin. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we all are connected in some
Yep.
kind of way. Like you just never
Okay.
know.
Yep. Oh
Never
my
know. I got
God.
like a lady from Vietnam. I'm like, how the heck did this happen? Like all kind of people. You just see, hundreds and hundreds of people that you're connected with through your DNA.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do mine. I did the family tree, and as I was tracing the family tree, that's how I found out about the Cherokee
Oh,
side
that's
of.
cool.
Yes, I was. Ooh, I got back. Mm, I got back to like 1920 something,
Hmm.
26 or something like that. So, and found out that my great, like three or four great grandfathers, his house was like $600. And he had like it was considered an expensive house. I was like, "What?"
Wow.
I wish.
Wow.
I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, it must be nice.
Right? Hmm.
Hmm.
Right? Okay. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
Yeah, the real LA. Oh man, Louis people from Louisiana be like, we from the real LA because you'll say LA for Los Angeles and then LA for
Mhm.
Louisiana. So that was always kind of funny to me.
The real LA. Okay. Mm. Well, we just say NOLA when we go outside
Right.
of everybody. We say NOLA, so grab a little
hmm
LA on there too, I guess.
hmm
What's your spiritual background?
I actually grew up in the church. So I grew up in the Kojic church.
Okay.
And when I was 16, I converted to Islam after I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. But it just so happened that my dad was already in the Nation of Islam,
Mm.
and back in the day, so I grew up saying "Assalamu alaikum," eating bean pies, bow ties, and still going to church at the same time. So my religious background is kind of, it's like I just experienced multiple different things. My
Yeah.
auntie was a Pan Africanist, so I just became to like understand and be open to like a lot of walks and a lot of ways of life, like say after I converted to Islam, some people were thinking that I'll talk down on the Bible. And I'm more so like, man, I like reading the Bible more than I like reading the Quran, but then if you read the Quran, they also say that it's wise for a person to read the gospels and they honor Jesus and all of
Right.
these things. So I'm just like, you know, it's more so like, it's like it ain't really that deep to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I read the book of Matthew a couple weeks ago. I read the book of Thomas, the book of Mary, the book of Judas, these books that weren't in the Bible that they found in Egypt
Mhm.
couple like years ago, that's not included in the Bible. And it was just like, wow, I really admire Jesus and the gospels, even King
Right.
Solomon. So I wrote a book and I mention biblical figures in the book, Bible quote verses in the book, So I don't really go into the for me like the us versus them and you
Yeah.
should be like this and you should be like that because that's not what Jesus taught.
Right.
Jesus said treat other people how you would treat yourself. That's a golden rule.
Yep.
But then in my book personally, I wrote that you shouldn't, a lot of people will treat others how they want to be treated, but then it's like some people don't love themselves and treat themselves good to even think about treating somebody how you would treat yourself. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So it's like you have to first love yourself and then you'll be able to treat others with that same type of love.
Yeah. That's that's an eye opener right there. Because
hmm
a lot of times people don't even know. I don't think a lot of people know. We have a general idea of right from wrong, but some people's right from wrong stems to how they're immediately affected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we know right from wrong, but um, if they didn't steal my TV, I don't think nothing wrong with it, or I'm not going to say
hmm
that, or it
hmm
was, So it's like they have a limit to expressing that right from wrong. So
Right.
I think that plays a big part in people treating others like they want to be treated because it's like, okay, yeah, I want to be respected, I want to be loved, but I'm only willing to do that just a little
hmm
bit. So yeah, that's a principle not a lot of people can tap into. They don't
Right.
fully understand treating other people how they want to be treated, and there's no limits to that. There's not as long as I'm in your presence, or as long as it didn't get back to you when I was talking about you, that kind of stuff. They don't get
hmm
it. They don't get it.
That's right.
But I'm happy to see that you are um let's say indulged in different religious backgrounds. Because a lot of time people get limited in saying, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Catholic, I'm a this, and they don't have the open mind to say, whatever my practices are, I still accept people as people.
Right. And that's how it's supposed to be. Like even Jesus said, if you, come as you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, but people tend I feel like I also had I have a podcast myself called the Militant
Mhm.
Grind Podcast, and I had a conversation with a pastor about, the way of life and, what's really in the Bible and things like that.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of interesting to me. It's more so like tribal, or gang banging, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you're this and I'm this and you're wrong and I'm right. And it's just like, man, that's not even what's in the book. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're supposed to be even
Yeah.
dealing with or talking about. Like, we're supposed to respect others, treat others how you're supposed to be treated. But then it's like, I don't really get into what people believe specifically. I'm more so, if you're, like, say in the Quran, right? This one script like changed the game. It said, no matter if you're Christian, Sabian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever, if you believe in Allah and the last day, you shall have your reward.
Mhm.
And I was just, that stuck with me. And it was just like, wow, like, how could, there's people out here that do heinous things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where you just like, man, if you die, I know you going to hell. But it's like, if there's like somebody that's praying, living their life right, smiling, treating others well,
Mhm.
doing this, doing that, I highly doubt if God, which is the most gracious, merciful person ever. Like in the beginning of the Quran, it says, "In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful." The Bismillah. But then it's like, if God is this merciful God, how can God take somebody like, say a Christian that's going to church, believing, spreading the word, spreading good energy to all these people, and be like, okay, you don't believe in one, two, three, four things. Nope, you're going to hell. Try again. Like, no, I highly doubt that that's gonna happen. So I don't really be getting into that, because there's some people that are, so-called Christian that do heinous things and don't treat people right, backstab people,
Yeah.
even within the church or wherever. So I feel like a lot of us have to get back to the root on what this really is about. You know what I'm saying? It's not about like, I'm this, so, my ego's inflated and I can walk around and with my head high because I'm this. It's like, nah, you still have to go in the world, treat people right, do right by others. You know what I'm saying? Like, not put anybody in a bad situation or things like that. Because
Right.
it's like, you can't just say this just to cover up all of the negative things that you may be doing, and I feel like that's more so what it is. Because, I had people that swear up and down they were Christian and praying and, listening to people talk and all that, but behind closed doors they were somebody totally different. But they'll project all of this other stuff, and I'm sure you could witness to that.
Mhm.
Like, dang, like, you did such and such like this, and you over here going to church and, praying and doing all these things, but you're gonna do this to this person.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. I go amongst everybody, rabbis, I got Jewish friends, Zoroastrian friends, I deal with people of all different cultures, backgrounds, religions almost every day. Just
Yeah.
due to the area that I live in LA. And it's more so like, man, just be peaceful, be kind to people, and that's really all that it's about. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. And my
Yeah.
my pastor would call those people inactive Christians. So they put up this facade like they're holier than thou,
Hmm.
but in their soul they're not doing the work that it takes to actually. So Christians are supposed to mimic Jesus,
Hmm.
who he was, what he did, his very nature, his character, right?
Right.
But if you're not doing that or striving to do that, if your intention is not there,
Hmm.
you can pray all day long.
Right.
You can go to church 7 times a week if you want.
Right.
But our Bible says you know them by the fruit that they bear. So if you're not
Yep.
bearing any fruit,
That's how you
then
judge
hey,
a tree. You judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? And that's like the only thing that matters. Because actually, the pastor asked me a question, and I actually posted it on my Instagram. He said, what do you think of a preacher that's rich, but his followers are poor and in poverty? I said, he's not a good pastor,
Hmm.
because the fruit that you're dealing with is rotten, is spoiling. Like, why aren't you, giving them whatever they need so they won't be able to live in poverty?
Mhm.
You know, you're basically taking from them and manipulating them, and that's not right. You know, but how is it, you know, if you could be like, man, like my congregation is doing well, you know, the kids are
Right.
going to college, this one's doing this one's doing that. You're going to be like, oh, okay, this must be a good church. I think I want to go to that.
Mhm.
Wow, look at this. These kids doing well and everybody's happy, everybody's looking good. You're going to be like, I want to go too.
Yeah. I would say that to answer that question, it would be twofold for me. I couldn't say that there was one clean cut answer to that question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, like I said, it would be twofold. Yes, the pastor should be, I would say, equipping the congregation to get out of a poverty mindset. Because if you're in that poverty mindset, it doesn't matter what I give you. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter if I helped you with a down payment for to purchase a house.
Right.
If you're still in that poverty mindset, then where is that money going to go? It's not going to go anywhere to benefit you. So I think that the pastor should be equipping, first of all, equipping their congregation um with knowledge on things that happen in the real world, like finances, like
Mm-hmm.
credit,
Mm-hmm.
like education, those type of things. Don't just beat people down and say, "Oh, you need to be in church, you need to repent." Yes, that's true, but also we're a part of real life, and
Right.
things happen, and we
Right.
need to survive, and we need to provide for families. Okay, how about you take that money and start offering some GED courses at the church? Start offering computer programming courses and coding classes. Start offering budgeting and finance courses at church. You know what I'm saying? Those
Yeah.
type of things. The second part of that is um, I would not want, because the church is so, I don't even know the right words to say about this. Um, you don't want the people to look for the pastor as their savior, even though a lot of
Right.
people do it anyway,
Right.
because that's not your savior. You're going to that church as a means of being in fellowship and community,
Yeah.
and to be led as far as teaching. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to that church because that pastor is God, because he's not.
Yeah. No, that's crazy because I actually mentioned that too. Because it was like we looked at the pastor as like such a holy person, and you know, it's
Mm-mm.
like,
He a
nah,
person
man,
just like you and me.
he just like us. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like it ain't, you know. But I was led to believe that, oh, if he puts his hands on me, I'm gonna be blessed. Oh, he put his hands on me. I'm like, I could put my hands on somebody with the right intentions and bless them too. Why I can't? You know, and I actually practice that like with my kids, you know, like
Yeah.
if they're hyperventilating, I'm like, okay, let me lay my hands on them and set the right intentions and pray for them and see how they feel. They just, they feel better. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Do you have kids?
I have four.
All right. So when your kid is crying, they hurt themselves. What's the first thing they looking for?
Consolement. They want to be
Ex-
consoled.
And love. They're
Yep.
looking for that love and that consolement that brings them straight down. Oh, you're okay. Oh. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you have that power right there.
Yep.
What was Jesus doing? He was putting his hands on people, giving them love. So it's like we actually could do that too. So I was just like, man, this is man, we all just got manipulated, you know? Like let's since this person is so blessed and doing this stuff for me, I'm gonna give them my money. I'm gonna give them this. I want them to live good, but you know, and that's okay. You know, I have no problem with that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But then it's more so like, you know, you also have to be internal too, because I don't mind giving to people that are on a mission, you know what I'm saying? That's doing good works, that's out in the streets talking to people, you know, like I have no problem with that. I have like say TD Jakes, I love TD Jakes. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? That's like one of my favorites, but it's like I know the work he's doing. You know, he's really out here pressing, you know,
Mhm.
so I was just like, hey, you know, I have no problem him living the lifestyle he lives, you know what I mean? Because he gives his congregation his best.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I would say I know giving comes up a lot, especially with people in the church, because there's
Mm-hmm.
either I'm gonna give because I want to give to the church. My thoughts on giving is I give just to give. So um I don't care the reason. After I always feel like this. After the money, and when I say giving, giving is not just money, but financially. After the money is released from my hand, it's no longer mine. So
Right.
whatever is done with it is what's done with it. I had
Right.
in my heart to give, I'm going to give it. So
Right.
I think a lot of times when people focus on, well, what are they going to actually do with this money, or what are they going to do with this money? Okay, yes, you want to make sure that um, you are sowing or giving into a place where you feel like you're going to make an impact. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
totally get that. But then you don't have any control over that because somebody can tell you, oh, this is going towards this, and then they don't. So you have no control over it. So I give just to give. I give to the church, not just because it's a church where I felt like I got a good word, or, I felt like I may have felt a connection that day. I give to the church, any church that I give to, any organization that I give to, or any person that I give to. The reason why I give is because I know that God has blessed me to be a giver.
Right.
So I give first without any request or anything like that, because I don't want it. It's just like if you were walking past me on the street, I would say hello or how you doing. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't walk past you and then say, well, they didn't speak first, so I'm not speaking to them. So I feel the same way about giving. If it's in my heart for me to give, I'm gonna give without any prompting, without any request, without anything that says, "Oh, yeah, you got to do this." It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen like that for me. I give to give, and when I first got into my spiritual walk, giving was hard for me because I wanted to give, but I was like, I thought it had to be a particular way. I thought it had to be I had to pay tithes in the church. I thought it had to be I have to give a certain amount every day, every week, or whatever. But it's not that. God is not looking for that. God is looking for a chill forgiver. What do you have in your heart to give? Because He don't want you to give to somebody because you say, "Oh well, I'm gonna just give it to them because." He don't want a reluctant giver. He don't want you to have conditions on your giving. Just give.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give just to give.
Yeah, giving is more than money. You could also give somebody your time, give
Yes.
them wisdom, give them
Yes.
opportunity, give them some suggestions. It's like there's multiple ways to give to change people's circumstances and their life, especially giving them wisdom and advice. That could go so far than,
That's right.
oh, here's $5. You know what I mean? Because some people
Yeah.
gave me wisdom and advice that changed my whole trajectory of life almost.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, when we look at the finance part of it, you can give somebody money, but is that always the best thing to do at that time?
Hi everyone! Join the Kingdom Fanatics community. Get exclusive content, green room access with our guests, and more. Visit our website at whogodsays.com. Like and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate your love and support. To find all information on joining our community, being a guest on the show, donating on our PayPal donation page, and more, visit us at whogodsays.com. Now back to the show.
Okay, so you went to Morehouse College.
Hmm.
What did you major in?
Business finance.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
And what was your mindset during college? Like, were you focused on life and getting established, or was it like, let me just pick a major and try to see where I can go from there?
No, I was definitely trying to be established.
Mm,
I wanted to go into the corporate world for sure. That was my thing, like working on Wall Street, that was some of my goals. But then when the recession happened, which was like 2008, it was just really bad. Like I
yeah.
was basically connected to this bank, this Wall Street bank called Lehman Brothers, and there was a part. They would actually fly down to Morehouse and help us with a competition and all this other stuff, And next thing you know, that bank closed down, and it
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, it was just like a lot going on, It's of course because of the economy. So I had to figure out, like, man, I have to be an entrepreneur because I got to figure out a way to eat. And, there's no jobs and I can't depend on any jobs right now. So that's when I was just like, I got to
Yeah.
figure it out on my own because I don't ever want to feel powerless. Like I'm not able to create an opportunity for me to make some money. So that's when I was just like, yeah, I gotta be an entrepreneur because there's no other way.
Okay. What was your first entrepreneur experience? And what
Uh,
did you think that was supposed to teach you? Like, what did it teach you as that experience?
uh, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur ever since I was a kid. I used to sell candy in middle school, high school, so like CDs, mixed CDs for people, Gucci material because they were like putting it on the Air Force Ones and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's like I used to just do a lot of stuff. I sold sidekicks when I was in college. I made a lot of money doing that. But I just like the independence of just creating my own. And it's like whenever I want to make money, I have the option to do it. I don't have to sit there and wait on somebody to give me an opportunity. So it's
Yeah.
like it been that way. But then I was just like, oh, well, I maybe need to get a job for some stability, but that never worked out. I mean, I have worked in the corporate world for like, some time or whatever, but it wasn't like, it was just up and down, up and down.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like I'm sure, especially in my generation, anybody born in like the 80s, it's kind of like, man, as soon as you get good, it's like it just get taken away, layoffs and all kind of stuff, like being laid off is horrible.
Yep. All right. I was a little
Yeah.
entrepreneur too when I was little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like to do hair, so I started braiding hair when I was about 12 years old. I would
Hmm.
braid hair in my sister's house. She lived in the Callio project, and I would braid hair on her balcony. So she would have like her friends and people she knew, and I
Hmm.
would braid their hair for $50 a head. And I was a little
Back
12 year
then,
old. Yes.
man, that's expensive for Louisiana. Damn. I'm sorry,
$50.
but that's man, that's like LA prices. That's expensive for Louisiana in the
Yeah, I
projects
mean,
too.
well, the thing was, so that was when micro braids was coming out, um,
What year
and
was this?
this was, oh my God, you trying to get me to tell my age?
No, I'm just trying to see how the money relates to that.
You trying to get me to tell my age? Why
I
would
mean,
you do
I
that?
won't be able to guess your age by telling me when you were braiding hair.
Okay, I don't want to tell
All right, it's all good.
you. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I used to braid hair for $50 a head.
Hmm.
And I just wish I had somebody who could kind of cultivate that while I was young, but I
Hmm.
didn't. We had a lot of hustlers in our family, and I guess that's what it was. Everybody
Yeah.
has a hustle. But as I got older, I was like, I wish someone would have said, well, look, let's put her in a shop, let her try to see what the
Hmm.
back end is like and things like that. I could have owned a couple of salons, but it didn't go that way. But yeah, I was a little entrepreneur too. Yes.
That's solid.
He was
Super
like
solid.
12.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the journey from about that.
Hmm. Okay. So you did the USC Ross program for real estate.
Hmm.
Why did you choose real estate?
Um, because that was like a way to wealth for me. So I was like, I wanted to more so be an investor, and in order to be an investor, you just have to like master the game. You know what I mean? So Um, yeah, it was for commercial real estate and real estate and development. But then I also learned that it was a lot that went into it. You kind of got to know somebody and work in there and things like that. But actually, I learned a lot. Now it's just getting money together to actually like start investing, like
Yeah.
that's the thing. But I was just like, if I'm going to do it, I want to learn as much as I can and then go ahead and pursue it on my own.
Okay. Sounds good. That's like one of the industries I want to get into next. Real estate
Mm-hmm.
and cannabis. That's what I want to
And
get.
cannabis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know exactly the avenue I want to go with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of the things that I want to do. I don't want to be an agent. I don't want to do that. But I know um, I want to dip my toe in some kind of way.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
So what did you so with that foundation in real estate, what sprouted up from that? Like, are you still in the real estate industry now?
No, more in personal development, and I say I'm like a creative entrepreneur more than anything now. So I
Yeah.
use creativity and entrepreneurship, and I do a lot of things. I'm an executive producer for a docu-series called Black Business LA.
Yeah.
Um, so that should be coming out whenever. Just gotta wait for editing and stuff like that. I'm also have my own personal brand, Militant Grind. Wrote a book, doing coaching and podcasts and stuff like that. So I'm just like applying my creativity to my business now. But I still do taxes and consulting, things like that. So I have like a lot of things that I'm talented at that I could actually
Yeah.
do.
Okay. So your docu series, the Black Businesses Los Angeles.
Black
Um,
business, yeah.
what what exactly is that about?
Black businesses in LA. It just goes and talks about their stories and
Mhm.
successes, shortcomings, things like that. Yeah,
Why
from
is that?
businesses, huh?
Why is that project important to you?
Just to showcase the struggles and the successes and like the things that we as black business owners just go through. It's pretty tough because a lot of times people are running businesses that were passed down to them from generation to generation. And we're just like first generation, winging it, what I'm saying? Just trying to
Yeah.
figure it out, figure out the right systems and put the right systems in place and stuff like that. So, it was like, it just made so much sense to me because I just know how tough it is, because you don't have nobody out here telling you the game or giving you advice or doing all these things or even like inspiring you to
Right.
continue to be a business owner, so that's one of the reasons why it is important to me.
Yeah.
And then to inspire others too to be business owners as black people, period, in society. So, yeah, and our first episode is going to be called The Green Rush, which actually is about cannabis and the cannabis industry and
Mm.
black people in cannabis that have farms and stuff like that. So, you know, that's that's what we rocking with first. Feel like that will resonate with a lot of people because a lot of African Americans, black people got arrested for
Yep.
for weed. Now it's like you can smoke weed in front of a police officer and he might ask you, can I hit that? So
Yep.
it's a little different.
Yeah. I definitely have to check that out. You gonna take that thing on the road?
Yeah, probably because we're thinking about doing Chicago, DC,
New
you know,
Orleans.
yeah, New Orleans probably,
Okay.
different
Okay.
cities, what I'm saying? So that is in the works and that is the plan for sure.
Okay. Well, I would definitely like to be a part of that if you would consider me. I'm putting my
Yeah,
little humble pitch out there.
for sure. Just keep in touch. And follow the Black Business LA series on Instagram to keep in touch. But like my mom is from Chicago, and I have a cousin that's the filmmaker out there that has connections on Chicago. Then the filmmakers from DC. Then I
Mm,
spend time, in Atlanta. So we have resources to connect almost any city. New Orleans, I gotta get with some people for that. Maybe it
okay.
gotta be you. I don't really know too much about New Orleans. I never been to New Orleans, surprisingly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta come take a trip. There's always
Yeah.
something going on.
Everybody been out there but me, but it is what
Always
it is.
something going on. But yeah, well, you got a friend in me.
Okay. Solid.
So, I do want to ask you during all of your, I would say, mm, endeavors.
Hmm.
Um, you are married.
Hmm.
You have 4 children. So, how does your business and professional life affect your marriage and parenting, or just your personal life in general?
It's honestly, it's more so like I just have to be super efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
with everything that I do, I have to be efficient, just so I could have time for family stuff. You know what I mean? So I just learned that, and like everything I do, I adopt tools and help and different type of things to allot me time to spend with my kids and the family and
Yeah.
do family stuff. Because that's the main thing. Because it's like it's time. But if you don't have time, you have to be super efficient and you
Yeah.
might have to stay up late, while they're in the bed sleep. That might have to be the case too. So, you got to make it do what it do, just with anything else.
Yeah. I totally get that because I'm a single mom and um have all these things going on, but I am now gotten to the point where it's like if it's not on a calendar, it don't exist.
Yeah.
So, so that I won't have to sacrifice the time that I want to spend with my kids. Like I don't
Hmm.
have to miss um meetings at school or just anything because if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. Now, I struggled with that for a while. For a few years, it was like I didn't want one side to. I didn't want to feel like I was letting one side suffer more than the other. So I struggled with it for a while. I would be running around with a chicken, like a chicken with my head cut off, because I wanted to
Hmm.
do everything, and
Right.
that's not healthy at all.
Starting and growing a business while dealing with your finances can be overwhelming and stressful. Emerald Services provides packages tailored to your business needs to help you mitigate taxes, stay compliant, plan for your future, and save money so you can focus on being the creative, influential visionary that delivers your dreams to the world. Because what you focus on is what will multiply. Schedule your discovery call today to find out ways Emerald Services can benefit your life plan and your business plan. Visit emeraldserve.com or call 504 603 6059.
Right. Definitely isn't. So you just got to pick and choose what you're strongest at and, go with that. Cause I used to do that too. But then it's like, man, you don't really need to do this because if you put more time into this, more could come into fruition. So it's not like just staying as busy as you can, just doing
Right.
busy work. It's more so doing effective work.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say all the time, you can be busy, but are you productive?
Right.
You know. But yeah, I had to make sure. I'm like, now it's like if it's not on my calendar, it don't exist. So
Hmm.
if someone is like, "What you doing next Thursday?" I go straight to my calendar. I go straight for everything. For
Hmm.
family gatherings, for everything, I go straight to my calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it don't exist to me. So
Hmm.
if I don't have nothing there, and you mentioned something to me and it didn't get to the calendar, I'm still like, oh, I don't have nothing to do Thursday.
Right, right. Now that's this. I forget about. I almost forgot about this podcast until I looked at my calendar. But when I was younger, I used to remember all of these different things. But now I'm like,
Mm,
dang, like I need a calendar because it's so much going on.
right.
But I used to memorize all of my stuff. Now I'm like, there's no way I could do that.
Not
There's
me.
no way, because I was like, oh, I do have a podcast I gotta be on today. Oh, dang, here it is right here. Oh
I'm
man, I
so
almost
glad
forgot
we
all
made
about
it
it.
to the calendar.
You said what?
I'm so glad we made it to the calendar.
Right, right. It's like you have to do that.
Oh
You
my
absolutely
gosh.
have to.
Oh my gosh. How
Yeah.
long have you been married?
6 years.
Oh,
Thank
congratulations.
you. Thank you.
How important was it for you to have a wife that could support everything that you're doing? Like, even though you're an entrepreneur, support your creative side, support you as a father, support you in the corporate world if you decide to. How important was that?
Not really that important. It was
Okay.
more so like her being whole herself. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? To, hold down what she holds down and I hold down what I hold down. Because
okay.
I already
Teamwork.
know, like, it's kind of hard to find somebody, period, that's like, on the same type of time as you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I'm just more so like, you just gotta find somebody that's strong with what they do, and then you gotta, balance that out with what you do. Like if you're an entrepreneur, it's best if you get with somebody that has a job, you know what I'm saying, that could bring in some solid, stable money, and all of your stuff could just be a bonus, you know what I'm saying? But if you like two hustlers, it's like, man, what's gonna happen when you got a dry spell, Like, because that happens to every business
Mhm.
owner. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to
Yeah.
be budgeting. You got to do this. So, it's more so like, hey, I'm strong at this. I'm gonna stick with this. You're strong at that. Stick with that. All right, cool. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Having that balance.
Yeah, having a balance.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
That's okay. In what way do you hope to make an impact on your children as a father and a businessman?
Just show them the best version of me, and that will resonate with them. Cause it's like, I don't really care if they do what I do or if they want to, but if they just strive, if they just not strive, but if they see somebody striving to do their best, that's always gonna resonate with them. Like the kids, daddy, you going to the gym, daddy, you working. That's probably the only things they know me to do. Not daddy's drunk on the couch, smoking
Right.
weed, doing this, doing no, they don't know they daddy for that.
Right.
Or man, daddy's acting funny and his eyes is red. Is he high? What is high? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of us had to deal with that, with our parents, drinking, smoking, you know what I'm saying? Just doing what they do. But I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I mean, I don't mind doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I don't drink or smoke, but it's like if everybody else does it, cool, but you just gotta be careful, if
Right.
your kids see that addiction, as a repetitive thing over and over. It's not gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I know a lot of
Yeah.
time when people are in that entrepreneur field, they want their children to take over and do what they're
Hmm.
doing. But a lot of
Right.
times kids don't want to do that. Um,
Right.
and
Right.
like I have four myself, and so it's like my oldest has already told me I don't want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm like, okay, then that's fine. I don't
Hmm.
I don't ever want to force something on them because I had this vision for myself or what I thought would work for our family, and it don't work for them as individuals. I don't want to
Right.
push it on them. I want
Right.
them to strive to do what they're envisioning for themselves. So it's like
Right.
they're not going to take care of it if you try to leave it for them and it's not what they wanted, you know,
Hmm.
and it's going to
Hmm.
be resentful and everything else. So it's like I want them to see me just going after what I believe in and going
Right.
after what I want and know that they can do that too, no matter what
Right.
it is. Yeah.
Right. And that's all it is. Like it ain't nothing more than that. It's like, I'm not gonna say y'all need to be an entrepreneur. My daughter tells me she want to be a scientist. I'm like, heck yeah, do it. I love it. Yeah, I've been encouraging her for that. Like, you still want to be a scientist? You know what I'm saying? All the time. But I'm not forcing, my thoughts and my stuff
Yeah.
onto them. My kids are artists. They love drawing. My daughter is like a little fashionista. We don't know where
Yeah.
she gets it from, but she will put some clothes together, wear dresses, and her mom doesn't even wear dresses. But my daughter, oh man, it's like, oh, that's all she wants to do. Prissy, I want my nails done, I want my hair
Oh
done,
wow.
and I'm looking like, where is she getting this from? But then it's like, man, who knows? Maybe she could do a clothing line one day, or she can make designs. Like one of her artworks that she did was featured in a talent show, like I was actually surprised, like, wow, really? But we're just allowing them
Amazing.
just to be talented, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And not holding back. I don't like when parents push things on their kids and say, well, all of us were doctors, you're going to be a doctor. All of us were lawyers.
Right.
All of us were teachers. We were all policemen. I don't I don't I don't like that because that's
Mm-hmm.
probably not what they're called to do. So
Right.
in my house, we have uh one that wants to be an esthetician. I was like, that's the oldest. And she said she don't want to be an entrepreneur. I said, but you're going to be an entrepreneur. Not saying that I'm pushing it on her, but that's the
Yeah.
field she want to go in as an esthetician. I'm like, you're going to be responsible for getting your own clients. But
Mm-hmm.
the esthetician, we have a teacher and graphic designer, an
Mm-hmm.
actor, and then the little one, she says she wants to be a veterinarian.
Oh wow.
Like,
I mean, those are
okay.
pretty good things, you know?
It,
That's better than like I want to be a security. I mean, not to talk down on that, but it's better than you know what I mean? Those are pretty good things. I'm like, well, you can live a good life doing that. So it don't really matter to me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like people can live good lives,
Yeah.
whatever, based on whatever they want to do, because everybody likes different things. Like, because somebody will be like, oh, yeah, why
Right.
do you want to be a teacher? I mean, if they enjoy dealing with kids and enjoy, that type of stuff, that's better than doing something that you hate for 8 hours a
Right.
day or something that you can't
Yep.
stand.
Yep. I just want them to be happy and to know that there's no limitations. I don't want them to have limitations on themselves. That's the biggest thing
Hmm.
for me. Be
Right,
happy and understand that you don't have limits. Just go
right,
out there and get it done. Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters. Like all that other stuff is like, man, I ain't worried about all this. What about this? What about that, man? What is that? Like, man, like, what if your kid decides to do? Like, that's on them. Like, I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the fact that one of my daughters like wants to be an entrepreneur and all of this stuff. But if she doesn't, it's like, man, what can I do? It is what it
Right.
is. Like, what can
Right.
I say?
But as an entrepreneur, you have a different type of mindset. So you can actually help your child in whatever avenue they decide to go in.
Yeah.
Even if they do
Right.
decide to go get a corporate job. We have
Right.
this think outside the box, pivotal type of
Mm-hmm.
mind where we're always adapting. And so that's one of the pluses of being an entrepreneur and having that mindset. It's like you're
Right.
always looking for growth. Yep.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is true. I can see that.
Mhm.
I can see that, especially with me.
What would you say drives you or keeps you motivated?
Um, Me wanting to impact people,
Yeah.
because I know I've been let down so many times in my life. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I feel like that's more. I'll be having like fires lit up under me though, and also take care of my family and stuff like that. So that's like a big motivator. It's like, man, you have pressure added because you have a family, so you have to go harder than the average person. Like some guys could be like, oh, well, I went on vacation and I did this. And I'm like, man, I got to pay for daycare. I can't do any of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
know what it is? Like, man, I got the daycare bill from
Yep.
last year back to do the taxes. I'm like, oh my God. Like there's some people that don't even have to worry about any of this, at all
Right.
whatsoever.
You feel like you're paying tuition when you're paying for daycare.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. But then it's like, what can you do?
What can
You
you
know?
do?
You
Oh
can't do
my
nothing
gosh.
about that. Huh?
Can't do nothing. Can't do nothing about it.
Right.
Tell us
Yeah.
about your book, From Grit to Greatness, Harnessing the Five Pillars of the Militant Grind.
Okay. So I wrote the book. Well, first it was going to be an ebook. And then I was just like, nah, man, I probably
Mhm.
could expand this a little bit. And I figured out a way to publish it, right? So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna like really write it. And because it's only 5 pillars, it's like relatively short. But then I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, the 5 pillars, love, honor, strength, discipline, and wisdom. That basically encompasses my life. And I could share those pillars with other people, and just to see how they feel about it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's probably like one of the best decisions I made because it's like I left something behind where people could understand how I think, who I am, you know, what I stand for and stuff like that. And it actually resonates with them. You know, hearing people say, oh, this book changed my life, or I really love this, man. I love the book. This is that. And these people are from all walks of life. It's kind of like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like you just put
Yeah.
your effort into one thing, and that one thing brought all of this, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I only had to do it one time, you know, and it's just amazing that I was just able to do that, you know. So I'm just gonna write more. And I've always been like a writer. Like people, you know, one of my friends said to me, like, man, you just be writing stuff on Facebook for years, you know, just the way I think and stuff like
Yep.
that. And so it was just so like, okay, you know, I'm a write a book. You know what I mean? I'm really gonna do it. It doesn't have to be 200 pages or anything like that, but just do something, you know? And I'll notice that a lot of the books
Yeah.
that I love are relatively short because, you know, it's just a lot in there that you could impact, and it's not full of fluff. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you be like, come
Mm.
on, man, can you get to the God, this is just dragging along, you know, like, come on, do we have to read about, well, this is, and then like, you know, then they get to the real stuff. It's more so like all the other stuff that I just spent reading was irrelevant, you know, like it's a sunny day and over here, this, and there's a farm and this, like, bro, come on. Could we just talk about what's about to happen? I
Like
don't
an
need to
action
read all this.
movie and you waiting for the action.
Yeah, you know, like, come on, man. Like, stab somebody or something. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. We could hurry up and get with it. We don't have to do all this, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the way, that's
Okay.
more so the way I look at it.
That's a good way to look at it. I like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, before we leave, tell the people where they can connect with you and about your projects you have coming up.
People could connect with me on militantgrind.com. So it's my Instagram, Facebook, book links, everything is on militantgrind.com. And that's probably the simplest way I could say it, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
connect with me there.
Okay. I'll have the link
Mm,
in the description. I'll also have your socials there too, so they can get to it a little bit quickly. But yes, go to his website so you
mm.
can get all that information. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Perryman,
Thank
for
you.
coming out.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all of your wisdom and also just your spirit. I like your spirit. You have a great spirit about you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate hearing that.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Who God Says podcast with your host and Kingdom Ambassador, Ty-Shaun-Dra. Go to whogodsays.com to join the mailing list for episode premieres, upcoming guests, and more. Send in your questions to be a part of the show at whogodsays@gmail.com. And don't forget, join the Kingdom Fanatic community. Until next time, be blessed and also be a blessing.